Hey legends, welcome back to my channel. So today's video has been one that I've been trying to make for so long now, and I've finally got down everything that I need to say. I have my little notebook here, so hopefully I don't miss anything. But today's video is going to be the truth about moving abroad. So for those of you who don't know, those of you who are new here, I'm originally from the United States, born and raised. I'm a citizen. I have permanent residency or whatever in the United States. I don't have a passport or any other citizenship of any other country, just 100% United States. However, I have been living abroad for over a year now, in both New Zealand and Australia, and I'm currently living in Sydney, Australia, which I've been living here for about 8 months now, and I've gotten so many questions regarding how to move abroad, how to work abroad, how to move abroad, how I afford it, just tons and tons of questions. And so today is going to be the video where I finally answer all of your questions. It's not a Q&A, but I've just kind of taken all the questions I've gotten and tried to compile them into one video. But I do have a few disclaimers before I get started. I'm not an expert in any way, shape, or form on visas or immigration or moving abroad or anything. This entire video is just going to be from my experience, the things that I've learned since traveling and living in a different country. But yeah, I'm in no way an expert, but I do want to share with you my personal experience to hopefully help you guys. Another disclaimer is I only have experience living in New Zealand and Australia, which are pretty similar countries, and they're also very similar to the United States. They're a westernized country, very, modern and everything. So those are the only countries that I have experience living in other than the United States. So I can't really speak for other countries' regulations and policies, etc. And the final thing I want to say before I get into this, I want to make this video not too long, so I'm really just going to go over really general information. I'm not going to expand or get into too much detail on these subjects because there's a lot I want to cover. So if you want me to make a separate video, which I might make this into like an actual travel series to answer all of the questions in more specific way, if you want me to expand on any of these topics and make a separate video on them, let me know and I will do that. But as of now, today's just going to be really broad, general video to answer all of the questions. Okay, so that was a lot to say, but I just really want to get into this, so let's get started. So the first topic that I want to go over is just the whole logistics, the visas, the immigration stuff, the real things that people just don't understand, which I 100% was the same way before I started traveling. I didn't understand any of it, didn't understand how visas worked and everything, so I'm gonna try to explain it a little bit. And like I said, this video is the truth about moving abroad, so I'm gonna try to tell you the reality of it. And the number one thing that I have to say about moving abroad is that for the most part, it's a temporary thing. Aside from getting citizenship or somehow getting permanent residency or marrying someone from another country, you cannot just pack up your bags, close your eyes, pick a spot on the globe, say, I want to move there, and just move there for an indefinite amount of time. I don't think there's any country that allows that, especially without visas and stuff. So you can't just, there's borders and stuff, and unfortunately that's the way the world is, but you can't just move abroad on a whim. You have to have visas, you have to understand that you can only stay for a certain amount of time, some countries won't allow you to work, etc. So you definitely have to do your own research. And like I said, I only have experience with Australia and New Zealand, so I can only speak for those countries. I haven't researched a lot of other countries' policies, so what I do recommend is do your own research and go on the government website of the country that you want to go to or move to. So with that being said, every single country has different regulations. They have different visas, different policies regarding moving, working, and studying. So like I said, you have to look up what your specific country that you want to go to has. So in my experience, New Zealand and Australia have really similar policies. They differ in a few ways, but for the most part, they're pretty similar. And both of them offer working holiday visas or working holiday schemes, which allows you to live and work in New Zealand and Australia for 12 months. So for a year, you can live and work legally. Technically in Australia, you're only allowed to work 6 of the 12 months that you live here, but I honestly don't know anyone that actually follows those rules, and I don't know if they actually crack down on them. They have different regulations for getting a second-year visa. For a working holiday visa in these countries, I think you can only get them if you're under 30 or 35 years old, so it's only for younger people. There are other countries that offer them, but some other countries only offer them to people from specific countries. Like if you're from Canada or New Zealand, honestly, you can pretty much work You can work in a lot of countries, but if you're from somewhere else, sometimes they have different regulations depending on where you're from. Also, if you have like a criminal background or you have any red flags on your passport, like you've overstayed a visa, if you know you're wanted or you're like fleeing somewhere because you're being chased or any of these weird situations, there's definitely going to be limits on where you can go and stuff. So as long as you don't have like some contagious disease or a criminal background, then hopefully you'll be able to get in. There's another thing called a visitor visa, which, like I said, I don't know if every country how this works, but a lot of times you can't just fly to a new country without a visa or anything. You need to have a visa, and if you're just visiting, you can have a visitor visa. And a visitor visa most of the time allows you to just travel, visit, have a holiday in a country for up to 90 days. I know the United States is up to 90 days and New Zealand and Australia is as well. I think there are a lot of other countries. It's usually around 90 days that you can stay. You're not allowed to legally work. So if you work on a visitor visa, it is illegal, and if they find out, they could kick you out and not let you back in. And also, when you're getting a visa, you have to apply for the visa, just like you would apply for a job. You have to fill out a form, and a lot of times there's a fee involved. For visitor visas, the fee is usually not very high. Working holiday visas are a lot more expensive because, you know, you're getting to stay there for a year as opposed to 3 months. And also there's different visas according to which country you come from. For example, my working holiday visa in Australia, which I'm on a working holiday visa here, I'm on a different working holiday visa than my partner Kieran is, and he's from the UK. So you have to figure out which ones you qualify for. For the United States as well, for a working holiday visa in Australia, you have to have a high school degree at least, and you have to have proof of it. You have to have, like, when I applied for my working holiday visa, I had to provide a lot more sort of proof of things than Kieran. I don't know if it has to do with because he's from the UK and Australia is part of the Commonwealth. They just kind of have like, it's a lot easier for them. But just keep in mind that definitely depends on where you come from and where you're going to. You have to check up on both of those regulations and policies. So like I said, it's going to cost a fee for you to apply. And just like a job application, it can get denied. If they do a background check or something and find that you have a criminal record or you have like a contagious disease or something, they might not let you in. And the money you paid for the application is not going to get refunded because the fee you paid was for the application to get processed. But in my experience, I haven't really met anyone or heard of anyone getting theirs denied for any reason, like, you know, just randomly. It's, for the most part, I'm pretty sure they'll let you in as long as you're fine and you're clear. I know for New Zealand and Australia working holiday visa, you have to have, I think, like 5,000, you have to have proof that you have at least 5,000 Australian or New Zealand dollars to enter the country for a working holiday visa to show that you can support yourself before you get a job. But again, I don't know anyone where they've actually checked that. They just kind of mentioned that you need to have it, but keep in mind that they could check it randomly, so you probably want to have that before you go. Okay, so then there's the other whole thing of like citizenship, permanent residency, getting a green card, all of that stuff, which is a totally separate thing. And yeah, I mean, you can get like citizenship and green cards and stuff if you marry someone from another country. And then, you know, like if Kieran and I were to hypothetically get married, I could get a UK permanent residency, he could probably get a United States permanent residency. You still have to like apply for the visas and stuff. And then if we were to have kids, our kids would have dual citizenship from the United States and the UK. They would have like 2 passports. So, but not every country allows dual citizenship. So yeah, getting married is one way to be able to live in a different country, but I definitely don't recommend that to marry someone just for that sole reason. Then there's also, of course, student visas, where if you're studying, you apply to study internationally, you can do that, but it depends on the college, and that's like a whole other thing. But most countries offer like student visas, so you can get a student visa. In order to get a student visa, I think you have to be studying though, like you can't just get one to live there. And a lot of them have regulations on how many hours a week you can work. So there's just a whole heap of different types of policies. I know it sounds really complicated, but once you figure out like which country you're researching, you'll understand, and once you talk to other people, you'll understand. Just do a little bit of research, and it's not as complicated as I'm making it sound. Okay, so I think I covered everything in that category, but of course if you guys have any other questions or want me to expand on my personal experience, like how I moved to New Zealand and moved to Australia, etc., then you can let me know. But like I said, I'm just on a working holiday visa in Australia, and I have to be out of the country by like June 29th because that's when I arrived, so I only am allowed to be here for a year.